Hello, I'm Lenny Pinna, and I'm the editor of this newly published book, A Face from Uranus, Correspondence Between Ted Burr and Henry Bellamann, 1943 to 1945. I hope you've had a chance to see some of my other videos in which I've described some of the aspects of the book and read some of the letters. I'm considering this video the official introduction to a new series of readings in which I offer dramatic interpretation of the characters, which I think will help bring the letters more to life. I hope you'll consider reading along with me by buying the book, either at Amazon or Barnes & Noble, and the link is below. I'll start with Ted Burr's very first letter to Henry Bellamann, in which he reaches out in desperation. September 20th, 1943. Dear Mr. Bellamann, hardly do I know what I am about to write, or that I should write you. Perhaps I feel some inner force compelling me to do this. Any consequence must be an adventure of the future. I hope you shall read me out here, and in what I hope may follow. Before you cast me herein away, let me tell you that I am writing on the strength of Jamie Wakefield. I feel utterly self-conscious and am exhausting myself in attempts to be and write just the proper thing in this letter. Perhaps I shall be able to forget that and have a real chat with you. You seem so real. Last night, I read a scene between Drake McHugh and Jamie Wakefield. I fell into an utter storm, for it was not of Jamie I read, but of myself. I believe, to have such an understanding of Jamie, you might be able to extend to me something. I don't know quite what. Oh, Mr. Bellamann, my eyes sting so that I can hardly see to write. I beg of you, in the name of Jamie Wakefield, if you believe you could give me courage, advice, or just a listening eye, I would like to write you my story. If you can picture Jamie waiting for a coming day, Saturday, September 25th, which would decide his possible army induction, then know the sudden confusion within me. In the event that this may mean anything to you, please send me an address where I might write you personally the story of a Jamie. Sincerely, Ted Burr. This is Henry's very quick response. September 22nd, 1943. My dear Ted Burr, I was much touched by your letter. Jamie is one of my favorite people because he is one of the most misunderstood. By all means, write me. But if you're going to tell me your story, tell me the whole story without reservations, just plain so. I must tell you that I am not a psychiatrist, but you don't need one. You probably just need understanding. I am happy that you felt you could write me. You may be sure I respect the motive as I respect the confidence. Sincerely, Henry Bellamann. And I'm just going to read a few paragraphs of Ted's very long next letter. September 27th, 1943. Dear Mr. Bellamann, buried in the fertile loam soils of Ohio is Bellevue. It's a town of several thousands. Its streets are lined with flowing maples. The sun sends dusty shoots of light through the abundant leaves to the weedy gardens, neatly placed at the side of each house. It is quiet and warm everywhere. On a Sunday afternoon, one either naps or trudges to a solitary theater for a matinee, after which there is the lure of a dingy ice cream parlor. All end in the walk home as cool darkness is scented with odors of frying foods. Hidden in this massive world is Bellevue, and hidden in Bellevue is Ted Burr. These were my very thoughts after I had read your letter. I hardly dared to expect an answer, yet here it was, kind and inviting. A part of you had found a way to me, insignificant me. How proud I am and grateful. I was reprimanded once by someone who could not understand my concern and near worship of those I felt had achieved. I can give no explanation, really. It is just that there are people who live, love, have children, and pass from the world unheralded and little known. And there are those that make a splash in life, whose reverberations are felt for generations. Helplessly, I turn my eyes to the latter. I seem to entwine my very thoughts in the lives of the undeniably great, composers, authors, dancers, musicians, actors, poets, artists. They comprise my interests. How odd, when I believe deep within the chambers of my heart, I long to pass unheralded and unknown, living, loving, having children. I'm trying to say two things, Mr. Bellamann. That in writing me, you have brought happiness, consequently a zest for the future. And I shall tell you my story, the whole story. I have some regret that it isn't a pretty story. But King's Row has instilled within me such an admiration and faith in you that I shall not hesitate in throwing open my very soul. There is so much to tell. I was born in Bellevue, September 26, 1924, so I am 19. My mother in tears once told me, "Before your birth, I had prayed my child would be a daughter. I wanted a girl so much. I was disappointed in bearing a son. It was wrong of me to make up my mind so. I should be thankful that I had 4 sons and only 1 daughter. Girls have such a hard life, always pain and suffering. A boy can be so independent." In my heart lay an answer. Could it be that any woman could suffer in being a woman, as I have suffered in not being one? The story will be continued in part 1 of Ted's story.